EDR Academic Seminar for Italian students offers classes such as Global Citizenship Education, Public Speaking and Debate, and American Literature for 2 weeks in Boston. It also exposes students to cultural diversity and deepens understanding of American literature and its history.
I taught American literature. I had a fantastic experience with this group of students. They're very bright, they're very engaged, very creative, and I was just so impressed with all of them. So we talked about some of the major themes in American literature, individualism, religion and finding values, money, success, and the idea of the American dream, and our relationship to nature. For day one, we did Puritan and colonial literature. So we talked a lot about the Protestant experience of God and the intensely individualistic nature of it. Our second day, we talked about revolutionary and Enlightenment literature, and we looked at 3 different visions of the American dream. What does it mean to succeed in America, and what are the conditions for that success? Our third day, we talked about the American Gothic. So we talked about how writers like Edgar Allan Poe and Nathaniel Hawthorne use the uncanny to work through issues from the American past, like the Puritan past, that are still coming back. Day 4 was transcendentalism, and we talked about the ideas of Emerson and Thoreau about what it means to be guided by your own inner spirit instead of by the dictates of society. And so we talked a lot about how hard it is to figure that out even today. And I think students found that this had a lot of relevance for the era of Instagram, for example. Day 5 was realism and naturalism. So we talked about the difference between realism and naturalism, how realism gives a true account of human life that is interested in individual choices, whereas naturalism says that individual choice is an illusion, that nature is the one that's really in control. Day 6, we talked about modernism and how modernism, kind of working with Freudian theory and some other ideas, actually hides and obscures a lot of the meaning that it's getting at, and tries to work in kind of the circular way that the human mind works, rather than in a more linear way. And so kind of coming back to concerns from the Gothic about memory. Our last day was postmodernism. We read parts of Catcher in the Rye, and we talked about the challenge of kind of looking back to the Transcendentalist project of finding your values and finding your voice in an era when you're being really bombarded by advertising, by consumer culture, and when mass culture is coming up for the first time. So we talked about what it means to be authentic in that context. I think a lot of them will take away ideas about both the joys and imperatives and also the problems of American individualism, that there's something very important about the idea of sort of finding your own inner voice, finding your own conscience.
American literature is more patriotic.
Patriotism is very important for Americans.
Since the American literature is younger than the European one, I think she deals more with themes such as capitalism and money success, which I never studied before.
I think the main difference is the social context that's behind it. I think in American literature there's a huge importance on freedom and individuality, which I think was brought also by the history of the nation, whereas Europe had more of a complex and deeply rooted in the past.
The goal of the class was to ensure that the kids could come out with the inherent and intrinsic confidence of speaking aloud to a whole group of people, while also maintaining some kind of trust within themselves, in each other, and their audience members, or their future audience members. I really wanted my kids, above all, to learn, but to enjoy learning, to actually have fun and engage with themselves, their peers, and others in the process. I wanted them to come away feeling like they won something, that they became different or better or, I don't know, anything.
The topic of my class was global citizenship. I don't try to teach the students what global citizenship is or some specific definition of it. Instead, I try to give them tools with which to think about these ideas for themselves. Because any one of them might end up constructing a better definition, a more actionable or useful definition of global citizenship than anything UNESCO or UNICEF might put out.
In my opinion, global citizenship is something that helps people to communicate with other people in a more simple way.
Global citizenship is something that reduces the distances between the people.
I think global citizenship is about knowledge and respect between all the countries that create our world.
I'd say it's like creating a culture, a world where everyone can be part of it and be included.
I would probably say that it's about exploring other cultures and traveling the world with an open mind, but also with while also conserving and keeping your own roots. So without disrespecting and unifying everything, still being able to enjoy every culture.
To me, global citizenship is about people and the environment they live in, thrive and decide to create traditions and history.
The title of the talk was Dreams, how to go about achieving or accomplishing your dreams. So this is what I did. So I had them discuss what are some of their goals right now as far as future dreams, future aspirations. I think the most important thing is I want the students, all students, to take quality time and focus on themselves. Who am I, the person? Or where am I at right now? What can I do to make myself an even better person? What connection or connections I have as far as me being a student, a member of my family, a member of a particular country, things like that.
Visit of Boston is all about discovery.
Inspiring.
Fantastic, fun,
Great.
Inspirational. I fell in love with Boston.
Just unforgettable.
I met so many smart and creative kids, and I really want them to take away that whatever kind of job they end up pursuing, whatever they end up doing with their talents, that there will be a way for them to do that in a way that can have a global impact.